Angel
Yeah.
Baby. Hi guys, it's Angel Baby, and welcome back to Mindful Monday. We are meeting every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are going to talk about different topics, right? We're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about a lot of different things on these Mindful Mondays, a lot of different topics. While talking about our Mindful Monday topics, we also are going to be crafting different things. Today, I'm going to be working on a crochet bucket hat with ruffles that I started. I'm going to be working on it while we talk today. This is my Red Heart Super Saver yarn. It is in the color of pumpkin. You see it? Yep. That's the yarn I'm going to be using. Also, I'm going to be using one of my favorite hooks that I use for most of my projects, my purple one. This is a 5.0 millimeter hook. All right. So we'll be talking today. We'll be working on a project. Please, if this is your first time here, take the time to subscribe to my channel. Tap the bell so you don't miss any of my notifications. Comment down below. Tell me hi. Tell me where you are from. Share. Maybe someone else will like my content too. But more than anything, thank you for being here. I'm so thankful. Welcome, welcome. All right. So you may be wondering, Angel, what are we talking about today? And you know what? I'm so glad you asked because on this lovely Mindful Monday, we are going to talk about boundaries. We're going to talk about boundaries. That is a big thing as a whole. Boundaries. Oftentimes, we're taught that we have to allow people in all the time. We have to let people be close to us. We have to keep people around even when they mean us no good. That's not true. That's not true. Even when it comes down to us as a whole, we're convinced that we have to be easily accessible at all times. That's not true either. That's not true either. As a person, you have the right to decide who gets to stay around and who does not. You get to decide when people have access to you and when they don't. That's your decision, right? Boundaries are also important to not only protect yourself, but that also is going to show people how to interact with you too. So if there is something that you're not okay with, voice that. If there's something you don't like when it comes to how people interact with you, voice that. The beautiful thing about all of us is that we are different. We are immaculately and perfectly, divinely created in who we are. But in that aspect, we also have to remember that sometimes we have to set up boundaries. We have to. Now, you may be thinking, well, what if we're talking about family? What if we're talking about friends? What if we're talking about someone we've known for a long time? I'm going to give that question back to you, right? If you have expressed something bothers you, if you have expressed something upsets you, and that person continues to do it, they don't respect you or your boundaries. We're going to be upfront, honest, and transparent this Mindful Monday. If you have told someone, hey, I really don't like when you do that, that bothers me, that upsets me, it makes me not feel good, and they continue to do it, they don't respect you or your boundaries. Now, there's a flip side to that, right? Because in erecting boundaries, we also have to be clear and concise in what we want and don't want to. So we cannot be upset with someone for doing something that we haven't told them, hey, I don't like this. Hey, I prefer that you not do this, right? Because when it comes down to our boundaries, when it comes down to our needs, when it comes down to our wants, that's not common sense. We've been taught to believe that, but that's not true. Nobody can fix something or adjust something if they don't know it's a problem, right? But going back to boundaries, as we grew up, as we become the lovely adults that we are now, we've been taught that people we have to keep around are usually family, our longtime friends. If your family or your longtime friends don't respect you, don't value you, don't give you full reciprocation within their means now, because sometimes people are just not okay, and that's okay too. But if you're not getting what you're giving and that gets to a point that it is bothering you, you have the right to erect boundaries. You decide the frequency and the level of which people can interact with you. You control everything in those aspects simply because you deserve the same love, the same respect that you give everybody else. You deserve the same understanding, the same consideration that you give everybody else. And most importantly, you have to be okay, right? So if you come to the realization that, you know what, this right here is not bringing me peace. This right here is causing pure chaos in my life, any relationship, any interaction. And you've communicated that. You've talked about that. You've been clear and concise with that. And that person continues to do that. You have the right to erect boundaries. Now, not all boundaries are permanent. Not all boundaries are black and white either. Even if it's something as simple as, you know what? Today is not a good day for me. I need time to regroup. I need time to decompress. Let people know that. Hey, today is not the best day for me. I need a little bit of time, right? I need a little bit of time to regroup. I need a little bit of time to decompress. I need a little bit of time away from you, right? That's okay. You can totally do that. That is okay, and it's actually necessary, right? We have to learn how to protect ourselves, show up for ourselves, be present for ourselves the same way that we are for everybody else. It's not easy. It's not. It's not easy at all. And I understand that. It's not easy because we are convinced we have to be present all the time, every time. But what if we don't have it in us at that point? We have to be, we're convinced that we have to be okay with everything because of who a person is to us. That's not true. That's not true either. Because think about it on the flip side. If you were in the other person's shoes, right, and you were not okay with something, would you keep that person around, being you? Would you receive that same understanding, that same, oh, it's fine, I'm just going to keep dealing with these things that are causing me stress, causing me heartburn, heartache, as one person I'm very close to says? Would you? Would you get that same grace? That same, yeah, just keep doing these things that are bothering me. That's okay. No, you wouldn't. So if something is bothering you, you can erect boundaries. And that, again, is not as simple as, I'm never going to talk to you again. That's not as simple as, you're dead to me, right? Because that's not how we approach things, especially if we haven't had clear and concise communication and conversation. That takes me back to what I said earlier. If you need something or want something in any interaction with the person, you have to voice it. People aren't psychic. Not in that aspect. Needs, wants, those change. Those change as we grow older, as we go through things in life, as we experience things in life. Our needs and our wants are going to continue to change. Because of that, we have to be able to voice that. Is that easy? No, it's not always easy, especially in long-term friendships or relationships, because we're like, well, this person knows me, so they should know this. No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't. Half the time, we don't even know what we need. We don't even know what we want. So don't burn that bridge without having that conversation, right? Now, when it comes down to erecting boundaries, that's not burning a bridge necessarily either, but that is you deciding, okay, this is how this is going to go. A lot of times that can require collaboration, right? If you talk to a person and say, hey, so this is what's going on. This is what has been happening. This is what's bothering me. I know that usually we talk all day, every second of the day, but I'm getting to a point where I need more time for me. So you may not hear from me quite as much. That's okay too. We don't just ghost people. Well, some situations people may say that's okay. But I'm an avid believer that communication is key. Communication is key. In any aspect, you have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to open up. You have to be able to express how you're feeling, what you're thinking. But again, I come back to, if you've done that, if someone is doing something that has bothered you, if you've done that, if you've continued to do that, and you get to a point where, whether it's months, years down the line, that person just refuses to hear what you're saying, refuses to take into account how you're feeling, you erect boundaries. Now, hear me out, right? In saying that, there's a difference between saying, hey, I need this, and it doesn't happen overnight. Or, hey, I need this, and they attempt to make that change. Because not everything happens immediately. Rome was not built in a day. If you have that conversation, that person is trying within their means, because we can't decide what someone else's best is. That's not fair to that person either. We have to be fair in this. Boundaries are important, but we have to be fair in this, right? So if you have that conversation, that person is trying, give them grace. But if you have that conversation, that person is not trying at all, you can tell when someone's not trying at all, or when someone's making excuses, or someone is not making something that is important to you some kind of priority. It's time to erect those boundaries. You are important. We learned last week, you are enough, and that is because you matter. You do not have to purposely and continuously put yourself in a situation or in the presence of anyone that is not benefiting your mental, that is not bringing peace to your life. If it is your brother, sister, uncle, cousin, best friend of 20 years, whoever it is. Because I said earlier, we as people, we grow. Sometimes we outgrow situations and people. That's okay. Sometimes we get to a point where something is just not bringing peace to our life, not bringing light to our life. That is when we have to make the decision to move things around. That is when we have to make the decision to have that conversation and say, you know what? This is just not a good space for me. This is not a good space for me to be in. I can't continue to be in this space with you or even with myself. And being honest about that. Honestly, too, though, when it comes to boundaries, we can erect them with ourselves also. Because we know the habits that we have. We know the things that we do. And we have to be open and honest with ourselves, too. Like, you know what? This is not bringing any good to my life. Maybe I should stop doing this. Maybe I should stop going here. Maybe I should stop partaking in these things, right? Because at the end of the day, you matter. Your feelings matter. Your presence in this world matters. So anything that you can do to make life a little bit easier, let's start doing that. Let's start saying no as a full sentence. Let's start saying I cannot, honestly, as a full sentence. We at times get to where we convince ourselves that we have to do all things all the time. We can't do that. We cannot do all things all the time. We cannot do things that are not going to benefit us in the long run. Did you all know we only get one life to live, unless you believe in reincarnation? And we're not talking about that today. But we get one life to live. One, just one. Make it the best for you. Do that for you. There is selflessness and selfishness when it comes down to being selfish on your behalf. All right? But if you've watched this far, I would like you to comment. I told you. Mindful Mondays will be talking about a lot of different things. While we work on crafts, I'm still working on this hat. I made some progress though. All right? So we'll be working on some crafts together. We'll be talking about different things. I'll be showing my crochet. We won't be talking about actual crochet per se. We will to a certain extent when it comes down to showing my projects, what I'm working on, the materials that I'm utilizing. I may make a day for crochet. I have to figure that out because we have Mindful Monday and we have Waist Bead Wednesday. So Waist Bead Wednesday, we will not be doing crochet. But I may get to a point where I focus more on my projects and get more in depth with my projects. But I like to have something to work on as we are having these conversations, because having something that makes you happy is important in life. Having something that brings you peace is important to life, right? It's important in life to have things that bring you peace. So that's why as we have these conversations, I'll be working on my projects and I'll be showing them to you as I work on them. But anyway, thank you for being here today. I appreciate you. Again, this was Mindful Monday. If you like what you saw today, take time to subscribe, goodness, to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Tap the bell to get notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. These are the most open moments with me. I'm letting you into my mind, into Angel's universe, or mindful thoughts. That is what it was told to me when I have these moments where I express how I feel express my viewpoint on things. Now, hear me out. My viewpoint, my thoughts. You may disagree with me, and that's okay. If you ever disagree with something that I'm talking about on Mindful Monday, I want to hear about it. Comment, tell me your thoughts. If anything I talk about on Mindful Monday helps you, makes you feel better, you can implement any of it, let me know. I told you before, if I help at least one person, that means I've done something good in life, and that's all I ever want to do. But thank you again for being here. Comment, let me know what else you would like me to talk about when it comes to topics. Subscribe, tap the bell, and remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, because kindness is free. I love y'all very, very much. Hope to see you on Wednesday for Waist Bead Wednesday. We're going to make some more waist beads. If you haven't seen my first Waist Bead Wednesday, if you haven't seen the second one, if you haven't seen my first Mindful Monday, take time. Go through my videos. I will be here every Monday, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you again for being here, and I'll see you all soon. Bye. Angel baby.
Yeah.